Good morning, Wright State University, and welcome to the Wright Morning Show on WWSU. Start your day the right way with us. We will be covering current events in the news, local, national, and from Wright State. We will provide a daily dose of inspiration and positivity to lighten your day. And we will have a special feature depending on the day of the week. So grab your tea or your coffee, sit back, relax, and enjoy the Wright Morning Show. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Wright Morning Show on WWSU Radio for Friday. Thank TGIF, November 12th, 2021. On the phone line, I have Harmony. How are you doing this morning?
Hey. Oh, Lord. I'm doing good. I have no complaints. I don't recommend COVID for anybody. So keep your freaking mask on. Go get plugged. Do what you can do, because this crap's no fun, as you can tell by the sound of my raspy voice. But, yeah, it's probably just a COVID cold, but other than that, I'm doing pretty good.
And then on Discord, we have Laughing Chipmunk in West Virginia, who is also dealing with COVID. How have you been?
I'm doing better. I mean, I sound kind of stuffy like Harmony right now, but I'm doing a lot better. You know,
that's good.
Yeah, I'm getting there.
Eventually. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Let's get into your current events for today. From Dayton Daily News, Tenneco says that there is no sustainable business case to keep the Kettering plant open. So Tenneco, I guess, is looking like they might be shutting down here soon. You can read more at DaytonDailyNews.com. Hamilton Journal News has an article about Miami Valley wrestling icon remembered as an unbelievable teacher of the sport. So check out that spotlight. From ABC 6 on your side, a Xenia florist is accused of bailing on brides and arrested in a separate case. So we talked about this florist before, I think a week or two ago on the show.
Yes, you did. Naughty.
Apparently she got arrested for something else. So,
thank God.
A Xenia florist accused of accepting payments from brides and bailing on weddings is now in jail on a separate case. Desiree Pace was arrested by the Greene County Sheriff's Office Wednesday. She was charged with passing bad checks at a Xenia nursery in 2019. Back in August, 6 on Your Side investigated what was at the court hearing that Pace didn't show up for. She's also facing a theft by deception charge in Highland County. A bride said she had to scramble to find flowers after Pace canceled the day before her wedding. The Ohio Attorney General's office is also suing Pace after filing in civil court, accusing her of swindling brides out of more than $50,000.
Ouch.
Oof.
Wow.
Yeah. Dayton Daily News. Owens B is suing the Dayton police for return of $22,000 that they seized. So check that out at Dayton Daily News. From DaytonLocal.com, let's check out some events that are happening in the Dayton area this weekend. So we're going to go ahead and start with today. The Sugar Plum Festival of Trees is today, so check that out.
Ooh.
The Dayton Book Fair is ongoing, the biggest book sale in Ohio. Veterans Exhibit, the special exhibit, has been transformed for 2021 into a Veterans Day tribute at Woodbourne Library. There's the Yuletide Winters Gathering. It is a weekend-long shopkeeper celebration to kick off the holiday season in historic downtown Tip City. Zoom around the room for 1 to 5-year-olds. A variety of play equipment will be set up in the gymnasium for children and their guardian to run climb, jump, and recreate. A Christmas Story, the musical, at La Comedia Dinner Theater. It will be premiering November 4th through December 30th, 2031. I'm sorry, 2021. I'm off by 10 years.
Just a little. If you go for anything, at least go for the sweet potato souffle. It's delicious.
Oh, you've been to La Comedia?
Long time ago.
Oh, wow.
So have I.
I've never been there before.
Oh, it's nice. It's really nice.
All right. There's the Little Explorers Preschool Fund. Together we will learn about letters, numbers, shapes, colors, and so much more, all while making new friends. There's the Formless Form 5, the calligraphy of Ronald Y. Nakasone. The Dayton Art Institute is focusing on an exhibition with the newly created works by Ronald Y. Nakasone and explores key aspects of the art of chow or calligraphy. There's the Little Leapers at Sky Zone. Fun, high-energy play adventure where the little ones can jump without the bigger kiddos, only at Sky Zone Dayton. Lunch specials at the Trolley Stop. There's daily lunch specials Monday through Friday. Norman Rockwell, Stories of Emotion. Dayton Art Institute presents Norman Rockwell, Stories of Emotion. So check that out. Samuel Levy Jones, The Empire is Falling. In his effort to investigate omissions and falsehoods deeply embedded within these volumes, Jones sews the book covers back together to create uncannily beautiful abstract paintings. And that's just page 1 of 3 pages of events that are happening just today, and there's probably more this weekend, so be sure to check all of them out at DaytonLocal.com. Lots happening around the area, so.
And wear your mask to all the events.
You may want to wear a jacket too. Because there's going to be a slight chance of snow tonight, and we're going to be talking about that in the weather forecast very shortly. From WDTN, there's a project to address flooding near Enon, and it moves forward with ARPA funding. A stormwater improvement project plans to address flooding in Clark County, and it is moving forward. The Clark County Commission is allocating $2 million in American Rescue Plan Act ARPA funding to fix the issue. Within 90 days of purchase, I had to make 2 claims on my insurance that totaled $20,000, said Morgan Allen, an Enon resident. Flooding is a known issue. I say it's been known for 40 years or more, she said. On Wednesday, Clark County Commission approved funding for the project to help alleviate flooding in the area of Enon-Xenia Pike. So be sure to check that out. Read more at WDTN.com. From WHIO, Making a Difference. A man cleans and cares for headstones at Woodland Cemetery. Sitting in the middle of Woodland Cemetery in Dayton, where about 100,000 people are buried, Dave Watson says he feels comfortable. He thinks God has given him a purpose. It makes me feel better. I've done something. I matter to somebody, even if nobody knows who I am or what I do, Watson said. For the last couple of years, Watson has been clearing away decades of dirt and grime on the headstones. He wants to bring back some life and beauty to those forgotten. I want to do it the right way. I want to gussy them up a little bit, he said. And after his parents passed away and he buried them at Woodland, he said he needed a hobby. He decided to take a class on how to correctly clean and care for headstones. When WHIO's James Browns caught up with Watson at Woodland, he brought with him his special toolbox. In it, he had toothbrushes, numerous plastic paint scrapers, and small hand brushes. Each has a purpose to help Watson remove the moss and dirt. As Watson worked, he said, "This is somebody's mother. This is somebody's father. You look at the stones here, and you can't read them. So that's my job." You can read more at WHIO.com.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Give him thanks if you go to Woodland Cemetery and you can read the tombstones again. Dayton Daily News has an article about a chemistry star which catches heat in Scientific Journal. Springfield News Song has an article that a Greene County man pled guilty of shooting Ohio wildlife officer and engaging in illegal deer hunting.
Oh, God.
Dayton Business Journal has an article about 4 Dayton area businesses awarded 2021 Higher Vets Medallion Awards. From WDTN, city hoping to rebuild following arson investigation at Huber Heights Community Park. A reward is now being offered for any information that leads to an arrest in the arson investigation at Huber Heights Community Park. Smoke filled the sky Wednesday, November 10th, as flames engulfed a popular playground. The incident is now being investigated as arson, and police are looking for 3 suspects who reportedly ran from the scene. There's also a $5,000 reward for information that leads to an arrest. There are a lot of families that come out here and just enjoy themselves, so this is a heavily used piece of playground equipment, Richard Shaw Jr., City Council Ward 1 explained. Richard Shaw Jr. represents Ward 1 on Huber Heights City Council. He said, "The city takes a lot of pride in its parks, and this is devastating for the community." You can read more at WDTN.com. From Yellow Springs News, Mills Lawn students open Veterans in Peace Park. On Thursday, November 11th, Veterans Day, Mill Lawn Elementary School students created a temporary Veterans in Peace Park on the Mills Lawn tennis courts, which is now open for visitors after school hours and on the weekend until Friday, November 19th. The courts are now adorned with flags, flowers, peace signs, and expressions of gratitude. Once the ribbon was cut, students sang, celebrated, and hung commemorative dog tags of veterans on the surrounding fence. All right, we're going to now go to your local weather forecast. The current weather at Wright State University, brought to you by Tomorrow.io, is clear and 44 degrees. The wind is coming from the south at 9 miles per hour, gusting to 20 miles per hour. It's a little breezy out there. The relative humidity is 78%. The barometer is 29.92 inches of mercury. The visibility is good. The air quality is moderate. Your forecast for the next 12 hours shows clear skies with a little bit of breezy conditions up until 2 p.m. Then it's going to get overcast. Breezy conditions continue. And then a chance of rain comes into play at 5 p.m. through 8 p.m. today. So look out for a chance of rain today. Forecast is the temperature is going to reach 50 degrees at 12 p.m. It's going to peak at 1 p.m. at 51 degrees and then start cooling off after 1 p.m. So we're going to have an early high of 51 before it starts cooling off. I believe there's a long wave trough that is coming through the area that's going to usher in some cooler weather in addition to the cold front that we had last night. Or not last night, but yesterday. Here's your extended weather forecast brought to you by the National Weather Service at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. Today's forecast, sunny in the morning with a chance of showers developing in the afternoon, high in the mid-50s. Tonight, a chance of showers in the evening, mostly cloudy overnight, low around 30. So there was originally a chance of snow tonight, but that has since gone away, it looks like. Saturday, it's going to be overcast with a high of 40 degrees, much cooler. Saturday night, mostly cloudy, low in the lower 30s. Sunday, a chance of rain and snow in the morning, transitioning to all rain in the afternoon, high in the mid-40s. Sunday night, a slight chance of rain and snow showers, with a low around 30. Monday, mostly sunny, high in the lower 40s. Monday night, partly cloudy, low in the upper 20s. And finally, Tuesday, mostly sunny, high in the lower 50s. Look out for some 60-degree weather again midweek next week. And now for global and national news, we're going to go ahead and start off with the New York Times morning edition here in just a second. Okay, so the New York Times talks about how is it time to start moving back to normalcy, and is it time to start getting over this whole COVID pandemic. So, the author writes, among the COVID experts I regularly talk with, Dr. Robert Wachter is one of the more cautious. He worries about long COVID, and he believes that many people should receive booster shots. He says he may wear a mask in supermarkets and on airplanes for the rest of his life. Yet Wachter, the chair of the medicine department at the University of California, San Francisco, also worries that the downsides of organizing our lives around COVID. In recent weeks, he has begun to think about when most of life's rhythms should now start returning to normal. Increasingly, he believes the answer is now. This belief stems from the fact that the virus is not likely to go away ever. Like most viruses, it will probably keep circulating, with cases rising sometimes and falling other times. But we have the tools now, vaccines, along with an emerging group of treatments to turn it into a manageable virus, similar to the seasonal flu. Given this reality, Wachter, who is 64, has decided to resume more of his old activities and accept the additional risk that comes with them, much as we accept the risk of crashes when hiding in vehicles. He has begun eating in indoor restaurants again and playing poker unmasked with vaccinated friends. He has taken airplanes to visit relatives. He hosted a medical conference in downtown San Francisco with a few hundred masked and vaccinated attendees. And I'm still going to be thoughtful and careful, Wachter told the San Francisco Chronicle. But if I'm not going to do it now, I'm probably saying I'm not going to do it for the next couple of years. And I might be saying I'm not going to do it ever. The hospitalization statistics in highly vaccinated communities help explain Wachter's attitude. In Seattle, the daily COVID hospitalization rate for vaccinated people have been slightly above 1 in 1 million. By comparison, the flu hospitalization rate in a typical year in the U.S. is more than twice as high. For most vaccinated people in a place like Seattle or San Francisco, COVID already resembles just another virus. The risks are also low for unvaccinated children because COVID tends to be mild for them. For young children, COVID looks like the normal flu, if not a mild one. As for long COVID, it is real but rare. It's also not unique. The flu and other viruses also cause mysterious lasting problems for a small share of people, according to studies. The bottom line is that COVID now presents the sort of risk that most vaccinated people we unthinkingly accept in other parts of life. And there's not going to be a day when we wake up to headlines proclaiming that COVID is defeated. In many ways, the future of the virus has arrived. All of which raises the question of which precautions should end now or soon and which should become permanent. Should offices remain mostly empty? Should schools require children and teachers to wear masks? Should classrooms go remote again when they identify a new COVID case, such as in Boston, a K-8 school closed for 10 days starting Wednesday because of an outbreak? For how long should individuals organize their own lives around a fear of COVID? Most of these questions are tricky, and a few factors can guide the decision-making, epidemiologists say. You can read more about this at the morning edition of the New York Times, but they cover local spread, illnesses, not cases, vulnerability, cost versus benefits. Here are some other headlines from the New York Times for today. A federal court temporarily blocked Congress from receiving documents related to the January 6th Capitol attack. Allies of Jair Bolsonaro are helping sow doubt in next year's election results in the event that he loses. They have help from Donald Trump's inner circle. Jack Ciattarelli, a Republican vying to unseat Philip Murphy, the New Jersey governor, will concede defeat. A shortage of substitute teachers led Seattle to cancel schools citywide today. Freezing conditions, rising deaths, and a new type of war at the Belarus border. Judges are rejecting a core legal strategy against opioid companies. A Myanmar court sentenced the American journalist Danny Fenster to 11 years in prison, the maximum possible sentence. Christopher Walken destroyed a painting by the artist Banksy as part of a BBC comedy series. And now from Cheddar News and Need to Know. From the Associated Press, Colorado Governor Jared Polis has overruled the federal recommendation by signing an executive order that allows all adults in the state to get a booster shot. Colorado is one of a growing number of states seeing COVID case numbers and hospitalizations back on the rise. The southern states that bore the brunt of the summer Delta surge are now faring as well as any, but new hotspots are cropping up in states like Michigan, Vermont, and New Mexico. As one top COVID researcher put it to the Associated Press, it's hard to know what's coming next with the virus. From the Washington Post, closing arguments in the Kyle Rittenhouse trial will start on Monday after the defense rested its case. One of the final witnesses for the defense was a use of force expert who testified that less than 3 seconds elapsed between the time a demonstrator fired a gun in the air and Rittenhouse shot his rifle. One of the big issues the jury will have to tackle is the question of timing. The prosecution is stressing that the chain of events took place over hours, starting with Rittenhouse's decision to go to a violent protest with a gun. The defense argues the time frame that matters in deciding whether his use of force was justified is just a couple of minutes around the shootings that left 2 men dead. From CNN, the death toll in the Astroworld concert disaster has risen to 9 after Barty Shahani, a 22-year-old Texas A&M senior, succumbed to her injuries. Travis Scott, through his lawyer, is asking victims of the stampede to contact him directly through a dedicated email address. A Texas lawyer spearheading the lawsuits against the venue, and Scott himself says he has more than 100 plaintiffs lined up. Wow. This is going to turn out to be a massive lawsuit from what I'm hearing. From the Wall Street Journal, the authoritarian president of Belarus is now threatening to cut off gas supplies to Europe, further ratcheting up tensions between the Russian ally and the EU that have already been spiraling over a growing migrant crisis. A major Russian natural gas pipeline goes under Belarus, and Vladimir Putin would have to give the okay to turn off this spigot. In the meantime, the EU is adopting a more hardline approach to its eastern border, going so far as to consider building walls and fences that would push back the migrants trying to get into Poland from Belarus. From QZ, homes in the U.S. are selling at their Homes in the U.S. are selling at their fastest pace on record, according to a new report released by the National Association of Realtors. Between July 2020 and June 2021, the average listing stayed on the market for just 1 week before going into contract. The year before, the average was 3 weeks. A majority of sellers were also able to get their full asking price, with 35% of homes going above the asking price. The competitive housing market has been great for homeowners looking to move, but terrible for first-time buyers trying to get into the market without the windfall that comes from selling a previous home. From Fox Biz, Chinese tech giant Alibaba took in a record $85 billion in sales during its annual 11/11 Singles Day shopping extravaganza in spite of the supply chain breakdown, a slowing economy in China, and Beijing's tech crackdown. Well, that's an astounding amount of money that dwarfs what Americans spend on Black Friday and Cyber Monday combined. It's the slowest pace of growth for the event yet. Red-hot consumer demand, combined with the supply strains that left many products out of stock or backordered, foreshadows what's in store for the holiday shopping season around the world. From MLive, Michigan's Attorney General has publicly apologized to the entire state for getting drunk at the Michigan State rivalry game 2 weeks ago. Donna Nessel, a Democrat, posted on Facebook that she overserved herself at a pregame tailgate by drinking 2 Bloody Marys on an empty stomach. Nessel acknowledged that she had to be helped out of the Spartan Stadium so as to prevent me from vomiting on any of my constituents.
Oh my God.
The AG revealed that her staff wanted to hire a crisis firm to deal with the fallout from Tailgate Gate, but Nessel decided it was better to just own up to the fact that she drank too much. From Billboard, as promised, Taylor Swift dropped a pre-recorded 30-track version of her landmark 2012 album, Red, overnight on streaming services. The release includes a 10-minute version of the song All Too Well, famously rumored to be written about Jake Gyllenhaal after their breakup. Swift hinted to Jimmy Fallon last night that she'll be performing the track on Saturday Night Live tomorrow. And that concludes your current events for today. We're going to go ahead and take a quick break on the Wright Morning Show. And when we come back, we're going to get into your daily dose of inspiration. Today, we're going to be talking about how to achieve your goals. You're listening to the Wright Morning Show on WWSU 106.9.
If you are tired of mainstream radio,
The Wright Morning Show on WWSU 106.9 FM. Welcome back to the Wright Morning Show on WWSU 106.9. Today's daily inspiration comes from Tiny Buddha, When Things Have to Change, How to Find the Willpower to Achieve Your Goals. And this is written by Timothy James. But first, a quote from Confucius. When it is obvious the goals cannot be reached, don't adjust the goals. Adjust the action steps. Do you want to know my biggest fear? I've just come out of the closet. My parents have rejected me, and I am terrified, really, really terrified, because I am completely alone, and the pain is unbearable. But it's not just the rejection that terrifies me. It's also what happens after that. With no one to turn to, I find comfort at the bottom of a bag of chips. 3 months and 30 pounds later, I've yet to leave the confines of my bedroom. I'm wasting away, haunted by dead dreams, dirty dishes, and empty soda cans. The depression is unbearable. I feel like I'll never be able to turn things around. I look in the mirror and don't recognize the person looking back at me. I've resigned myself to a life of sadness, solitude, and self-neglect. It feels as though everything is hopeless and I'll never amount to anything in life. Feelings of depression, lack of confidence, and fear of failure drive me to seek comfort with Aunt Jemima instead of with a new diet plan. This vicious cycle of depression and binge eating leads me to a state of paralysis and obesity. I've completely stopped taking care of myself. I feel like I may as well die because my life is over. Yikes! Dramatics much? The secret is, not only is this one of my biggest fears, this actually happened. But spoiler alert, Eventually, with therapy, I was able to break out of the depression and drop 30 pounds. Equally important, my parents have grown to love and accept my gayness. But that's not what this post is about. This post is about the 5 strategies that help me crawl my way out of the hole and get back to a healthy place, physically and emotionally. And if you're feeling discouraged and unmotivated to create positive change in your life, these 5 strategies may help you alleviate your emotional triggers, increase your willpower, and achieve your goals. So before we get into these strategies, wanted to ask Laughing Chipmunk and Harmony real quick, have you ever fallen into a rut like this before? And if so, what got you out of that rut?
Mm. Uh-huh. Well, I don't know. I don't find myself in ruts too often. And when I do, I think the thing that pulls me out of them is just the fact that I need to kick my own butt and tell myself, come on now, I need to get moving. Can't have things around me falling apart, much less myself falling apart.
Mm-hmm.
So I think about the people around me, not just myself.
Yeah.
I think about my son, my friends, and pretty much everybody that's around me. And I think to myself, I don't have time for this.
Mm-hmm.
But it's true. I mean, we don't have time for it. We just need to keep moving, keep motivated, and keep finding the positive in all the things that we do.
Mm-hmm. What about you, Laughing Chipmunk?
Okay, what was the question now?
I forgot the question.
I know the question.
All right. That was a reference from Monty Python, How to Irritate People, for those who are listening. Yes.
I know the question. In God's name, let me speak.
The question was, have you ever found yourself in a rut before? And if so, what helped you get out of that rut?
Well, my biggest rut was back in Dayton, Ohio, with my living situation, and some nice, kind, loving, wonderful man got me out of that situation, and I was able to get out of the house, get out of the situation, and leave it all behind.
Now you got a bunch of cats.
Yeah, now I got cats, yeah. But
yeah, 1 cat back then, and now you have 9 now.
9 lives.
Hey, one's gonna be adopted. I found a home for a little bit.
Yay.
So,
Ooh, nice.
Yay. I'll tell you about that later. But back to the rut thing. Yeah, because it's like with my situation, I don't think I could have gotten out of it by myself. Yeah, Rich really helped me out of that. So he was basically my savior. So it's like that was really the only rut that I've really ever been in. I guess you could say.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm just glad I'm out of it. I mean, I wish it didn't have to be, somebody doing it for me. I wish I could have gotten it out of it by myself. But there was just no way, no possible way that I could get out of that situation. So, I had to have some kind of help.
Yeah.
And
Makes sense.
I'm a lot happier now.
Yeah, at least you're on a better page. For
I
me,
am.
when I was in a rut several years ago, I think just getting out and volunteering and doing stuff was my savior. Because it's like you're taught in therapy, when you have depression, do opposite action. When you don't want to do something, do it anyway, and that's what gets you out of a depressive rut.
Discipline.
Yes. All right. So here's what Timothy has to say about some strategies for achieving your goals. So, first off, chunking. Many of us cannot complete the task we set out to do because we get overwhelmed thinking of all of the work required, which leads to a state of paralysis. Overwhelm is one of my main emotional triggers, and chunking is a great way to alleviate this and follow through with my goals. Chunking is when you take a large task and break it down into smaller, more manageable pieces. With chunking, you will find that you have increased confidence and willpower and are able to complete more tasks with less stress. We basically have unlimited willpower, but when presented with a momentous task, the brain becomes overwhelmed and says, "Enough, I'm done, bring me chips." When my depression was at its height, I had many days where I didn't feel like going to the gym and hitting the weights. When I was in the negative emotional state, I found my mind focusing on the long, tiring workout I had planned ahead, while feelings of inadequacy and not measuring up to my peers came creeping in. It's exhausting just thinking about it. It's called paralysis by analysis. Ooh, I like that.
Nice.
Paralysis by analysis. I'm going to have to remember that. That's pretty cool. So it's when you're overthinking something and you get stuck in a place of inaction. During times like this, I feel things are hopeless. I plop my ass down on the couch and prepare for a good long Netflix binge with a side of chips, of course. Then comes the uncomfortable feeling of my potential being wasted and my waistline slipping further and further away. To get over this state of inaction, I use chunking. I focus on the task at hand and think, what is the next right move for me at this moment? I tell myself that I go to the gym and I'll just do a 5-minute workout. If I want to exercise more than that, I have the option to do so. After the first 5 minutes is complete, I tell myself I'll do 5 more minutes, and then I repeat. Eventually, the resistance to working out subsides, and an hour goes by and the workout is complete. I'm always in a better mood after I leave the gym, and the emotional triggers that were holding me back oftentimes seem insignificant once my workout is complete and I've gotten out of the house. See, and I wanted to mention about chunking too. One of the things about chunking is when you break down a task into more manageable pieces, you have more opportunities to complete something. And every time you complete something, your brain releases dopamine and you feel good and it motivates you to do more stuff. And that's what gets you going. Strategy number 2 is confidence. Confidence is the belief you have in yourself to achieve your goals. After coming out to my parents and feeling alone and abandoned, my confidence was basically non existent. I needed to get my confidence back if I was going to be successful. Approaching a task with confidence will decrease the willpower required to complete said task, and feelings of self doubt and insecurity will begin to melt away. Now, how is it possible to increase confidence, you ask? It's not as hard as you might think. Start by changing the way that you frame your goals. When I wanted to lose 30 pounds, for example, I felt an extreme lack of confidence pursuing such an ambitious goal. Feelings of inadequacy and self-doubt became debilitating. I felt like I was permanently stuck in a place of inaction, never to achieve my goals. But the truth is, the way I was framing my goal was setting me up for failure. I found success by chunking my goal down into something I felt was easy, manageable, and achievable. I shifted my focus from losing 30 pounds to losing just 1 pound. 1 pound is easy to lose, so I felt confident in my ability to achieve this small chunk of my ultimate goal. I started paying attention to the small wins and milestones. I began tracking my progress with a fitness app on my phone. A Virginia Tech study found that having a visual representation of your progress provides motivation to reach your goals. The easier a goal is to see, the closer it seems. Tracking your progress is another great way to increase confidence. It also decreases the amount of willpower required to stick to your routine and your diet. With my renewed confidence, a strategically planned diet and training regime, excuse me. I always mispronounce that word. I don't know why.
Yeah.
I achieved my goal weight and lost 30 pounds. Once I truly believed in myself, I was able to accomplish something that I thought was impossible. Strategy number 3, perception. Perception is everything when it comes to maintaining willpower. It will make or break your chances of success. A recent study conducted by Stanford University found that if you believe you have unlimited willpower, you will in turn have more willpower than the average person. This means that when you believe you have a finite supply of willpower, you're right. When you believe you have an infinite supply of willpower, you're right about that too. You create your own reality. The beliefs you hold dictate the world around you. The limitations you put on yourself are the limitations that also hold you back. Create a new narrative for yourself, one in which you are empowered to achieve your goals, and you will transform limitations into strengths. Remember back when my depression was at its height and I gained 30 pounds in 3 months? I lost all respect for myself and my body. I stopped believing I could achieve my goals. Feelings of hopelessness took over. I was sinking deeper and deeper into an intense and painful depression. Eventually, I began to realize how my perception was limiting my ability to lose weight. If I didn't believe in myself, how could I expect to achieve anything? Through meditation and with a lot of support from amazing friends, I was able to shift my perception from hopeless to hopeful. With this shift in perspective and a newfound love for myself, I began to take care of my body properly. The weight began to melt off, and I became the success story you see today. Strategy number 4, identity. Identity shapes the way we view ourselves and what we believe we are capable of, and it dictates our response to emotional triggers. Are you a smoker? Do you love to jog? Are you a fat, lazy slob who will never amount to anything? These are all examples of the identities that we create for ourselves that can hold us back or lead us to success. We constantly use our identity to quickly recognize the things we are good at and things that we suck at. Did you ever stop to think about how this identity is spaced out of past experiences, many of which do not even hold true today? These beliefs will hold you back from reaching your full potential if you let them. When I gained 30 pounds, I had allowed myself to take on the identity of victim, and as a result, I became disempowered to change my situation. Eventually, I learned to shift my identity from disempowered to empowered by changing the stories I was telling myself. No longer was I a victim of circumstance. I accepted full responsibility for my situation and let go of the victim identity. Once I chose to stop playing the victim, I directed my energy towards creating the life that I've dreamed of. By shifting my identity so that it was aligned with my life goals, I changed the narrative and opened the door for real change in my life. I also decreased the willpower required to achieve my goals and began my journey on the path to success. So now you're thinking, how the heck do I change my identity? You can start by changing the stories you tell yourself. Flip the script. I'm reminded of a time when I was trying to quit smoking for the 10th time. When I had a bad craving, I would tell myself things like, I'm not allowed to smoke. The language I was using, I'm not allowed, is of someone who identifies as a smoker. By speaking that way, I was creating a sense of deprivation and giving away my power to the identity of being a smoker. I found that by changing the story from I'm not allowed to smoke to I do not smoke, I decreased my feelings of deprivation. It also empowered me to create a new identity of someone who does not smoke. With this new identity, I decreased the amount of willpower required to quit smoking, and I became empowered to make the changes necessary to achieve my goal. And I was able to successfully stop smoking with a slight shift of identity. I felt so proud of myself for this one, too. And finally, strategy number 5, high level thinking. We essentially have two types of thinking: high level and low level. Low level thoughts focus on how to complete a task, short term goals, and execution of plans. How am I going to work out today is an example of a low level thought. High level thoughts focus on why you want to complete a task and are charged with a sense of meaning and purpose. They help us to find that extra bit of willpower we need to carry us through tough times. Why do I want to work out today is an example of a high level thought. The high level thought shown above focuses on the motivation behind the goal. It reinforces the belief that working out is what is best for me. Thinking in this way reduces the resistance to the task at hand and reduces the amount of willpower required to accomplish goals. A study by Professor Fujita in 2006 concluded that people who often engage in higher level thinking have a higher amount of willpower than those who regularly engage in lower level thinking. When I was in a full blown depression, I found low level thoughts were much more common than high level thoughts. With my focus on logistical things like the endless steps involved in getting in shape, I would feel overwhelmed and sink deeper into depression. Just leaving the house to go work out became an arduous task. Eventually, I changed my focus to why I was going to the gym and connected my overall goals of being fit and healthy. With less focus on the mundane day-to-day tasks, a lot of the resistance to leaving the house subsided, and I was more frequently able to get out and get into my workouts as planned. With continued practice, I've become more mindful of opportunities to choose between high level and low level thinking throughout the day. Just this morning, I had an insatiable craving for cream in my coffee. I'm currently experimenting with intermittent fasting, and one of my rules is no cream until after 4 p.m. The struggle got real. I was ready to give in and make that coffee creamy and delicious. I didn't care how wrong it was because it felt so right. But suddenly, as I was about to pour the cream, I started thinking at a higher level. I realized this cream would stop me from progressing toward my larger goal of being fit and healthy and inspiring others. After thinking at a higher level, the cream became much less tempting and I was able to put it down. Thanks to higher level thinking, I found the willpower I needed to not break my fast. So these 5 strategies, chunking, confidence, perception, identity, and high-level thinking, are all tools to add to your toolbox to help you alleviate negative emotional triggers, increase willpower, and ensure that you reach your goals. These techniques have helped me through some very tough times, but they will help you with any goal in life that requires persistence and dedication. Implement these tools in your life today and see how they may help you. So that was written by Timothy James. What do you think?
Pretty good. Wish I could say the same about ice cream, but I already done did the deal. And it was worth all 5 minutes of coughing and hacking, so even though I couldn't taste it, that's the only crappy part. But no, I think, it's definitely something to look into, and those 5 tips I feel would be very helpful for most people, in starting out their quest on trying to pull it together.
Mm-hmm.
So I think he's got a good idea there.
Yeah. Any thoughts, Laughing Chipmunk?
Oh, I'm here. Well, I'm just like I got distracted. One of my coffee pods was obviously poked by a kitty claw.
Oh my god.
And I've got, yeah, it was right, peppermint chocolate mocha too, one of my favorites. And I got
Oops.
coffee grounds all over the little box that it came in.
Oh
So
no.
yeah, sorry, I got a little distracted here. I'm trying to clean up a mess.
One of your cats wants to be the Keurig.
Yeah.
The cat rag.
Oh Lord.
Cute.
Oh.
All right. We're on that note, we're going to go ahead and take a quick break. When we come back, it is Freaky Friday. And since we didn't do a Thoughtful Thursday because of Veterans Day, I thought we would combine both Thoughtful Thursday and Freaky Friday today to talk about something thoughtful and serious, but also something weird.
Thoughtful and freaky. How interesting.
A shortage of public toilets in the United States.
Oh, God.
So we're going to go ahead and talk about that when we come back on the Right Morning Show, WWSU 106.9. And we're back to the Right Morning Show on WWSU 106.9 FM. And welcome back to the Right Morning Show on WWSU. For Freaky Friday, in combination with Thoughtful Thursday, we're going to be talking about a shortage of public toilets in the United States that was primarily exposed by the COVID pandemic. So this comes from Bloomberg.com and written by Elizabeth Yuko on November 5th, 2021. Surviving a pandemic has a way of forcing people to focus on the basics: health, food, shelter, the need for human connection, and going to the bathroom. This became evident during the great toilet paper shortage of 2020, when panicked buyers emptied store shelves in the first weeks of the U.S. stay-home orders. As COVID closures continued, the pandemic revealed a different toilet-related problem that predated the novel coronavirus: a dire lack of public restrooms. Though facilities in bars and retail establishments are often thought of as public, widespread shutdowns serve as a stark reminder that they're really not, and that few genuinely public bathrooms remain in American cities. That reality was underscored as the pandemic dragged on. Infection fears led cities to padlock a few public restrooms that were available. Stories emerged about Amazon and Uber drivers resorting to peeing in bottles while unhoused individuals relied on adult diapers or 5-gallon buckets filled with kitty litter. Yeah. It was pretty bad. Public urination complaints spiked in cities like New York and Washington, D.C., especially when crowds flooded the streets in the summer of 2020 to protest the murder of George Floyd. I can only imagine how bad it was.
How bad it got flooded.
The state of public restrooms in the United States is pretty deplorable, with certain exceptions, says Stephen Soifer, president and co-founder of the American Restroom Association. Public restrooms are a half-assed job. This is a public health concern, especially with COVID. It has been a mess. The lack of public restrooms in the United States hasn't gone unnoticed. In 2011, a United Nations appointed special rapporteur who sent to the U.S. to assess the human right of clean drinking water and sanitation was shocked by the lack of public toilets in one of the richest economies in the world. A full accounting of truly public facilities is elusive, says Soifer, but government-funded options are exceedingly rare in the United States compared to Europe and Asia. Privately owned restrooms in cafes and fast food outlets are the most common alternatives. According to a public toilet index released in August of 2021 by the UK bathroom supply company QS Supplies and the online toilet funding tool P-Place, that's an interesting name. The U.S. has only 8 toilets per 100,000 people overall, tied with Botswana. Iceland leads the ranking with 56 toilets per 100,000 residents. The presence or absence of restrooms in public spaces has long been an indication of a particular group's place in society, said Laura Noran, a postdoctoral associate at New York University and co-editor of Toilet, the Public Restroom and the Politics of Sharing. From women to people of color to those with disabilities, vulnerable communities have struggled to have the most fundamental of needs accommodated. Most recently, transgender individuals have found themselves targeted in bathroom backlash debates. It's basically the same script that just plays over and over and over again, and these social tensions often meet in the bathroom, Noreen said. Who gets access to the bathroom really could be summarized as who should have access to public space and public discourse. Somehow that crystallizes around the bathroom because people's fears are the highest in the bathroom. So how did Americans end up with so few places to go? Understanding this requires a look back at the societal and sanitary conditions behind public restrooms in American cities and the moral panics that propelled both their creation and their downfall. Unfortunately, we don't have time to go over that here on the Right Morning Show because it is closing in on 10 o'clock. But if you want to read the full article here, you could go to Bloomberg.com. But I found it pretty interesting. Only 8 toilets, public toilets, genuinely public toilets, per 100,000 people in the United States compared to 56 in Iceland.
Wow.
Yeah, that is a stark difference between countries. So it was a pretty interesting find. So on that note, we are closing off for this morning on the Right Morning Show. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in to this edition of the Right Morning Show. We are here every morning. Every Tuesday through Friday morning from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. Coming up next on WWSU Radio at 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. is Democracy Now! From Amy Goodman and Juan Gonzalez. Get your latest national current events and listen to some special guest interviews. From 2 to 3:30 p.m. today, we have Parker Testa with The Perspective. So get the latest in sports news. From 4 to 5:30 p.m., we have Anna and Dylan. Dylan is the business manager of the Guardian Media Group, and they host a show called The Hot Spot, where they choose special guests to put them in the hot seat and ask them questions.
Nice.
It's a pretty interesting show. You should check it out, Harmony. You might like it.
I think I will. I don't have anything else to do today, so yeah.
4 to 5:30 p.m. It's a pretty fun show because they ask some really interesting questions and sometimes juicy and controversial. And finally, from 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. is yours truly, K-Dean, with the K-Dean Vibe Show. So get down and get boogieing.
Good God. You gotta listen.
Good God. So be sure to check that out. Thank you, everybody, for tuning into the Right Morning Show. Have a great weekend and great Monday. Stay warm with that chance of snow. We'll see you back on Tuesday.